Hi, everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Second Chances Show Wellness Show. I have with me today Dr. Nirvana. I am your host, Dr. Hanan Selim, and I will be talking to her about how the meditation of the human mind and happiness. And she will be sharing her inspirational story as well with us. How she went on to the gaining a tenacity. I love this word, tenacity amidst life's circumstances, and what a lovely topic to be talking about today, especially during this epidemic. And we could all use some of this juice of tenacity. So I'm your host today. My name is Dr. Hanan Selim. I'm a healthpreneur, CEO, and founder of Healology. I'm an award-winning author, international speaker, recognized by global health and wellness gurus as the most influential thought leader in health and wellness. I'm also known as the pharmacist in the future because I inspire, inform, instruct corporate leaders and healthcare professionals on how to prevent disease, protect immunity, and potentially reverse chronic conditions like obesity, diabetes, cancer, and many more in a span of 3 months through a Healology, which is a specific evidence-based, natural, and measurable turnkey system so you can make an impact, accelerate your career, and leave a legacy. So I want to give you some information of why I launched and the reason for second chances. So I've always spoken about how we can create second chances for ourselves in health and happiness, as I offer the roadmap in my book, Second Chances. So now to the COVID-19, where everybody's focused on the same, I wanted to bring on experts from different industries to showcase their own journey of second chances on health and well-being using natural methods. In doing so, we will answer many questions on people's minds. Things like, is mental health the cornerstone of physical health? How does mental health impact human happiness? Can preventative and lifestyle changes end global health issues? And how can government and companies communicate and contribute to promoting a healthy lifestyle as part of a social culture? What is its role in ensuring the safety of individuals by providing reliable information on modern diets, slimming techniques, sports, and dietary supplements? So I came across this interesting research that's being done by not only the governments, but this theory that's a behavioral change principles theory. They are now creating guidelines that they're going to update every year to the staff or to the citizens of the countries expected to review for including social psychological theory and behavioral economics, in addition to developing other content that encourages individuals to positively contribute to community development. So without further ado, I want to speak about Dr. Nirvana. She's a PhD in effects of meditation on human mind and happiness. She's a highly regarded expert therapist, trainer, and consultant. She's a change catalyst of mind and spirit. We're going to get into that. I love that. She's a certified practitioner in over 20 different therapy and coaching modalities. Wow. From a highly successful career in large multinational company in Europe to becoming an entrepreneur, she turned life that allowed her to explore deeper energetics of human mind and the spiritual aspects of human life. She spends considerable time in the Himalayas. We were just speaking about that. She promised me she'll take me the next trip in her spiritual exploration. Dr. Nirvana is always ready to teach, help, and shift people from where they are stuck. Her personal message is everyone has unlimited potential to create the life they desire. Absolutely agree with that. Dr. Nirvana is a global trotter and spiritualist extraordinaire. uses her many natural gifts and expertise to throw light on situations. And boy, we need that right now during this epidemic. And experiences that fox even the most intelligent of us. Yeah. Her articles are on meditation and mental health, written with deep understanding, have been featured in MedLife, Day Out Dubai, health magazines, and many more. Dr. Nirvana is known for her boundless energy and optimism. Even her mug, I want her to show us her mug in a minute right now. Even her mug is very optimistic. Her many workshops, professional and educational seminars in India, Europe, and Dubai are popular and booked out. Dr. Nirvana's indomitable spirit is a shining light in the world of self-improvement and empowerment. Wow, I'm so honored and a pleasure to have you today, Dr. Nirvana. Real interesting, going to be an interesting episode today. I'm very excited. So please go ahead and give us some information and show us your mug, so that everybody see how even your mug is optimistic.
Yeah. Here is the mug, my favorite.
Yeah, I love that.
That inspires me in the morning when I wake up. And thank you, Dr. Hanan, for inviting me in this beautiful show of yours that is spreading so much of positivity, light, and awareness. And you have already introduced me so beautifully and so elaborately. Like, I am at a loss of words. I have nothing else to add. But yes, as you said, I'm an international speaker, author, and trainer in emotional mastery. So, I also am a coach and a holistic therapist in 20 different healing modalities. And I started this journey in healing world 15 years ago, basically. And as the journey went, I completed my PhD on effects of meditation on human mind and happiness. And I did my master's in Jnana Yoga as well. And what I teach people, basically, I believe that to be successful in any aspect of life, whether it is relationship, your career, your work, your finances, whichever aspect you look at, how successful you are depends on how emotionally fit you are. So in emotional mastery, I train people, how to feel competent to handle the complexities of emotions and how to use the emotions to create the life they want that aligns with their needs and values.
Amazing, beautiful. And I thought of you right away when I was looking for wonderful people who could give a voice on the positive attitude and the positive mind and thinking of releasing those from a scientific point of view, releasing those happy chemicals, which are actually your healing chemicals, right? So what will you tell us about how you got into emotional mastery and your journey onto that?
My journey in emotional mastery, see, I feel, Dr. Hanan, that the current education system, the school, are teaching us so many things, but they are failing to teach the most, foundational life skills, which is emotional mastery is one of them. How to deal with your emotions, how to handle your emotions when things do not go as per the way you want. And that happens in life so many times. And I see the new generation, in a way, they feel so lost, they feel so misunderstood at times because something doesn't work the way they want to, and especially with the current economic situation and the current ambience of the world politics, what is going on around us. I mean, if you are not nervous, you are not afraid at this time, you are not human, basically. So when things don't go the way you want, and they have absolutely no clue what to do, because we are living in this 2 minute noodle time, where everything has to be so instant, where everything has to be so fast. They expect you to have a magic wand, but you deserve so much more than 2 minute noodle. So my journey basically started, Dr. Hanan, because I came from a broken, dysfunctional family. So as I, entered my 20s, I traveled and lived everywhere, wherever I got the slightest hope of finding acceptance and love. And in that process, I lived in the most beautiful countries of the world where people dream of, Florence, Milan, Barcelona, Madrid, Hong Kong, Dubai, and my life at that time in my 20s was all about big money, big names, glamour, glitter, and I realized at a point that my validation, my identity, my social, identity, personal identity, everything is tied with my corporate career. And at that point, when you think, you start living these false truths in your head that, this is what it's meant to be rich, successful, and happy, to have the social status, to climb up the corporate ladder. And that's when 2008 financial crisis hit us. And my business got a huge hit at that point. And at the same time, when one thing happens, it seems like it attracts so many like energies together. I was engaged to my fiance for 12 years, my high school sweetheart, and he died in a fatal car accident in Atlanta at that time. And we did not, it was an immediate death. There was not even a chance to say each other goodbye. And I still remember his last message, the message he sent to me the night before, that I love you very much. And the next morning he was gone. And immediately after, I was feeling like emotionally numb, but at the same time I got the news that my mom has been diagnosed with lungs fibrosis, and there is no medication for that. The modern medicine do not have anything for that except to put you on steroid. So it's like practically watching a death countdown clock going on. And more than physically, it was mentally and emotionally exhausting. And finally, the time came when my mom passed away, and I find myself, no matter how much you prepare yourself for death, you do not actually know what it is like unless you are going through that pain of losing a loved one. And I lost two loved ones, back to back. And I was going down that rabbit hole of depression and, loneliness. I was devastated. I was lost. It was excruciating pain. And I found myself, sitting alone in the apartment, invisible and, lonely. And my mother was the only family that I had. And now I had nobody. And at that time, because all of us are always wanting to avoid pain, that's a natural tendency of being a human. So I was similarly, I wanted to just run away, escape my pain. So what happened? I did the next biggest mistake in my life. I got married. I told myself that I am in love. Again, another false truth. What I was looking for is that emotional dependency. I just did not want to be alone. I was so tired and exhausted mentally and emotionally. I wanted somebody else to be on the driver's seat of my life. I didn't have that understanding that nobody can drive your own car except yourself.
Yes.
So I just wanted to live that little girl's dream of happily ever after, except I had no clue that was my journey to hell and back. And immediately after marriage, everything changed. This man, I thought the man of my dreams, it became a very abusive marriage for me. And the first time, you get hit, you get physically abused, you think maybe it's a one-off time, until it happens again and again. And then you realize that no, what is happening, this is what is called domestic violence. It's becoming a pattern. And at that time, the biggest mistake I did is that I did not reach out to anyone, because no matter how uncomfortable or painful the situation is, it becomes your comfort pattern, because you know what it is like. It's a strange way of your brain giving you the security. Then to jump out of it, and out there you don't know what lies ahead. So no matter how bad it is, you stay in that pattern, and you believe that tomorrow morning things will be different, or he will change, or even worse, I will change to fit in. Until that my body started gaining weight. I was becoming, I was bloating up, and I gained so much of weight. I became very shameful about my body, and I stopped eating because I thought it is the food that is making me gain weight. And even in the morning, I remember it was an agony to get myself out of the bed and to go and open the door. I would drag myself practically. It was so painful. And I remember I just thought in my head, I don't think I'm going to last another 5 years, because you feel the way your body is going down the drain. You know it, that I'm not going to be able to survive this. And at the same time, when he kept brainwashing me that you are not good enough, you are not beautiful enough, you start believing in all those things. Until one night the biggest betrayal happened, and then I was sitting by myself throughout the night in my living room. First you start blaming yourself. Where did you fall short as a wife, as a partner? Did you not love him enough? Did you not it enough? And I thought of different ways of killing myself at that point. But then death was not an option, because Dr. Hanan, even an ant, how small it is, if you try to squish it to death, it will try with all its force to take one last breath. And whenever there is a struggle, there is a rebel, and there is a spur of life, and you have to catch that moment of life. I took the craziest decision of my life the next morning. I packed my bags and I went to the Himalayas. And trust me, it was not easy, because my body was not supporting me. I was so big and fat, and my lungs capacity was like gone totally. I was not like how you are seeing me now. And on top of that, I'm a thalassemia minor since I was my birth. So like 10,000 feet above, I need oxygen support. But that's when surrender comes, when you feel, I have nothing else to give except my last breath, take it or leave it. And I came to Himalayas, I came to this village, complete natural living, where the average lifespan of people are 120 years. It doesn't even show on the Google map. I met a yogi in Himalayas who doesn't come in public. And my entire life transformed. I spent there around 15 days only. When I came back from there, my friends were shocked. It was such a huge transformation, like a sphinx rising from the ashes. I had lost like around 12 kilos of the extra weight that I was having. No more water retention. I was light. I was free. I was happy. Life gave me a second chance.
That's beautiful. I mean, it's extraordinary, your story, how, the spirit and the willpower that you survived so much, pain, but you took it as a learning curve, right? You tried to understand and make, what this is being thrown at you and why is it thrown at you, but you actually took it with stride and unable to break out of this abusive relationship and this heartache and pain. I could relate definitely to losing a parent, because I also lost my dad, and at that point I felt, okay, I lost myself really, because I was connected to him so much, And when you're emotionally connected to something or someone or some place so strong, and that is broken, whether it's from your doing or from just life happening and death happening, that you find yourself really lost and on a journey that you never thought you would be on. And to actually survive something and come out of it a champion, I see it really. Anyone who goes through this, it's not the celebrity or the influencer or any of that. I think it's the people, normal people who are out there who go through triumphant, trauma or experience like this and come out the other side with a learning and an understanding and moving and paying it forward to help others. I think those are the heroes. Those are the champions of today, and really I applaud them, and I really look up to and honor people who are like you and people who strive to make things better and pay it forward. And that's the difference, right? When people take their experiences and their journey and they move on to pay it forward. In my situation, I paid it forward to create a system, to write a book, and you've done the same and paid it forward, which is a really honorable cause. So about the body, how can, I mean, you spoke that you gained a lot of weight and you were having a lot of these other health issues. So how are you able to then have the body heal itself? Because I'm very big on that. I mean, I come from a chemical medical background where it was spoon-fed to us that, okay, if you have a headache, ibuprofen, acetaminophen. If you have, a gut issue, you take antacids and you do this and that. And actually, we go on and spoon feed it to a lot of people. So how did you break away from that mindset that the masses are following to be able to go on and heal it yourself? And what do you think is even more effective to do it naturally than to actually use these resources that we have that we call medicine and invasive measures?
Yeah, let me start with this, that nowadays, even like the modern science has accepted the fact that most of the diseases we have are psychosomatic.
Yes.
So one of, for example, Candice Pert, who was a very expert neuroscientist, in one of her articles, where do you store your emotions? And she wrote, the emotions are not stored in the brain. They are stored in different parts of the body. Until they move up, they are integrated, made whole, and then healed. So what happened in my case, all these emotions that I was feeling from the point of my losing my business, my mother, and then my marriage, that loneliness, the depression, that feeling of helplessness, hurt, pain, I was not expressing it. And when you do not express your emotions, they are stored in different parts of the body. Now, if we look at the traditional medicine of the ancient sciences in different Eastern countries, we find that also each organ holds different emotions. For example, the liver and the gallbladder, they hold the emotion of anger. Yes. Those you will find, issues with the lungs. They have a lot of issues of grief and sadness that they haven't expressed in their life. Something like cancer actually takes 13 years to manifest. It's so much of bitterness that you are holding inside, and they are not lost. If I ask you, what did you eat this time last year on this day for dinner? You will probably not remember, but just because you do not remember does not mean it does not exist. All the memories are being stored in our cells like a cellular memory. And when they are memories of, like, especially emotions which are of anger, pain, resentment, bitterness, hurt, hatred, revenge, they're all being stored there. And if they're not attended, they're like, under the carpet screaming, look at me, look at me. But if you're not looking at them, you're avoiding them, denying them, suppressing them, ignoring them, some point or the other, they need to express themselves. So if they're not expressing themselves outwardly through your behavior, they will express themselves through your body.
Yeah.
Through diseases. Yeah.
Absolutely. This is actually part of my 17 years of work on research, is that I came up with something that's actually the alignment and the harmony between mind, brain, and organ. If there's a disconnect or some disruption, if you will, between that, you will manifest a disease. And you're right. I mean, the statistics and the research in science shows that diabetes doesn't happen when you go for the prescription or when you go for the blood glucose from the doctor. It's actually 10 to 15, even 20 years in the making, something called pre-diabetes. And cancer is the same thing. Research has shown that cancer takes about 15 to 20 years, as well as Alzheimer's disease and all these chronic conditions that are really in the making. And if we don't prevent them now and boost our immunity to protect our body, we are already getting ourselves on that path. Now, I'm one of those people that could be not only a medical health practitioner, but I went through the journey of being the patient as well, where I was actually 40 kgs heavier. I had precancerous cells in my ovaries. I had endometriosis, and so on and so forth. And I was a clinical pharmacist in one of the leading hospitals in Manhattan, and nothing worked for me. And this is what led me on my journey. And I absolutely agree. And we're talking the same language here, because if you don't get to the root cause, if you don't get to that mind part first, the emotional part first, that's actually the energy in motion, is what I call it, as emotion, that's fueling you on that path to creating havoc in your health and well-being. Absolutely agree. So what is this natural living story of the Himalaya villages? This is really cool. I've been looking forward to hearing from you about that.
Yes, it is very interesting. Basically, I was shocked. I didn't even know such a place exists on Earth, and especially the kind of lifestyle we have here in the cities. And it's such a contrast over there. And the natural, the average lifespan till today there is 120 years. And you see this, 98-year-old woman, like so robust and full of vitality, of course, all wrinkled face, like you see in those special National Geographic photos. But, living by herself, doing everything, cooking, cleaning, doing everything. So the nearest hospital and medical doctor is 3.5 hours away by car. So if anything happens to you, you are completely in the hands of nature.
Yeah.
And there was this man, for example, in front of the cottage I lived. I used to call him the herb man, because he used to sell a glass of, fresh peach juice and apricot juice in the morning. And it was like 10 rupees a glass, which was like probably 20 cents. Something like that, which is practically nothing compared to, what we spend here in organic food. Yeah. And so he would tell me, all the secrets of these herbs that he uses. And he told, for example, from one village to the other, one day they were sending some lamb, they had cut a lamb and the as a gift they were sending to another village. So they wrapped the lamb in some leaves. When the lamb arrived in the other village and they opened it up, the entire body had joined, and they realized it's the quality of that leaf that joins bones. So till today, if anybody gets a fracture in their arms or leg, anywhere, they just make a paste of that leaves and they just put it there and they wrap it up. And your fracture is taken care of. So this is the kind of natural living that I am talking about here.
Wow,
okay, he's like, there is not one herb in Himalayas, not one plant that doesn't have a medicinal quality in it. And
Wow.
there is not enough research about it as well. And the yogis that I found there, they live like, they have this plant like for 3-4 leaves they eat, and your lunch is done and your body has taken all the nutritional that you need. And so these villagers, if they grow one crop throughout the year, that one vegetable they will eat throughout the year. There is no pesticide, there is no chemical fertilizer, nothing. You wake up with the first rays of the sun early in the morning, and once the sun sets, you go to sleep, because there is no distraction of like going into the social media or watching TV.
Yeah.
You just go to bed, and like 10 o'clock at night, it feels like 2 a.m. in the morning. It's that pin drop silence. And just being there, and the air is so fresh, and it's filled with not just oxygen, life force energy. That's
Yeah.
what you feel around you in the food you eat. The people are so transparent and so simple. The simplicity of life exists there. When you are there, sitting there, it makes you think, where am I going back to? Because everybody seems in their own, cage of in shackles, and asking you, come and join my madness here. I mean, do we really need the air conditioned offices, and what the complexities of life that we have created? Is there a bigger purpose in life other than the deadlines and targets and obligations and duties? It makes you rethink life.
I think COVID did that for a lot of people. I mean, the lockdown and they were faced to look in the mirror, if you will. And I totally agree with you about reanalyzing and the importance and going back to basics is key, especially when it comes to health and well-being. Absolutely agree with you. I mean, look at it when I don't know if you ever saw the videos that people were running for the toilet tissues. I mean, I think this is a basic necessity for people. I mean, the food, and people were making sure the pharmacies were open, making sure that the supermarkets, because these are basic, people think it's the basic necessities, which is food and shelter, right? So that brings us back home to basics. And I want to also mention that about the Himalayas is that yes, actually there was a research called the blue zone countries, where they went out in the US and they researched where are the countries or the populations that lived 100 and beyond. And it was the simplistic parts of the world, and it wasn't the advanced quote unquote countries. Now look at the advanced countries, and they're having all these issues with obesity, with cancer, with diabetes, with high blood pressure, cardiac diseases, and so on and so forth. So it's very important that we bring focus, that basics, and especially with your health and well-being, go back and see where's the root cause, where is this coming from, and that will give you the thread to on that proper healing journey that you need to go on. Beautiful.
I mean, it made me wonder, we are living in a culture today where we were like buying what we don't need for people we don't even like.
Yes.
Because there is a constant
Absolutely.
comparison.
So yes, the ego, right? When the ego takes over. I have one interesting question about, I know the people think of a diet as being, limiting calories or counting calories or the amount of food or intake, or is it a high carb diet, low carb diet, high protein, all this. But you talk about something really cool and interesting that I want to touch base upon, and you call an energy diet.
Yes.
So talk to us about that.
Actually, that I'm glad you asked that question, because this is something I'm so excited about, energy diet. And this is something I learned also in the Himalayas, going back to the basics. And I have written more in details in my emotional mastery book on this. when we eat food, why are we eating food? The food gets converted into energy at the end of the day, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So everything in this world is about energy. And energy diet is using the elements of nature to give you energy. For example, the sun, the earth, sun, water, air, ether, the 5 elements of earth, that of this universe. How to draw this energy from these elements, natural forces of the universe. And as you will be going further and further into it, you will see that you will have more energy in your body, you will require less sleep, and you will be eating less because you are already getting that energy from the elements of nature. So you don't need to eat food to get more energy. So for example, like the sun, have you noticed one thing, Dr. Hanan, that one particular day, let's say you wake up in the morning and you're just feeling down, or you had a bad day in the office, something didn't go right. You just go out in the sun and you just stay in the sun for just soak in, have a sun bath, and you immediately feel so good. Has that happened to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, you feel the energy and the warmth of the sun. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Just soaking in the ultraviolet rays of the sun can immediately boost your, mood, uplift your emotions. That is what I'm calling about, the elemental force. And this is similar to, what in Japan, they have this ecotherapy of forest bathing. It's exactly the same. What we in Indian ancient traditions, we also have that, spending 15 minutes a day in the sun. And there was this interesting experiment that was done by a French psychologist in 2013. His name was Nicolas Guéguin, and what he did was, it's very humorous as well. He went out every day to women who were alone in the street and who were not accompanied by anybody else, and he would ask them, you are looking very beautiful today, will you give me your phone number? And he noticed that on sunny days, he would get their phone numbers 22% more compared to the days that were cloudy.
Wow.
So sun makes such a big difference for your emotions, which means guys out there, go and propose when it's a sunny day. So that's talking about the sun, for example, the earth energy. We live on this planet earth, so anything we want to manifest on this earth, whether it's a great job, a lot of money, $1 million in your bank account, a fantastic dream partner, you need to have a very strong and balanced earth energy. And how do you get the earth energy? The earth energy enters your body in a tremendous current through the food you consume. Yeah. And every food you have, because we have to understand one thing, the food does not just give us vitality for our physical body, it spiritualizes our mind, it feeds our emotion, and it definitely determines the quality of our life. So when we talk about food, every fruit, every vegetable has their own high intelligence and their vibration. And you will find it extremely interesting that, for example, the fruit papaya, if we look at it, papaya can shift any dark emotion into a lighter emotion. Papaya takes away your resistance to change. So this time I have been telling all my clients, make sure you include papaya in your diet, because this is a time where everybody is going through tremendous amount of change. And some people are feeling very resistant to it, and they want to hold on to their old ways of living, which is not going to work. Once we come out of this lockdown, there is going to be new models everywhere, in your business, in your work, in your way of living. So we need to let go of the resistance, and papaya helps you to do that. I ask them, include, don't just have water, infuse water. I call them, emotional power drinks to have. Clove with water, boil clove and have it in water, because clove takes 20 years to produce flowering buds. So clove gives you that, quality of patience towards difficult situations, difficult people. It acts as an emotional, kind of a numbing agent towards high intensity toxic energy. So I have written more about this in my book, Emotional Mastery, but every fruit has it. So, replace your diet with more organic foods, and, that is free from pesticides and chemical fertilizers. Have your diet in more harmonizing food than stimulating food, because the more you can keep your nervous system free from the, those neurochemicals of flight or, fright, that neurochemicals that gives the emotions of anger and fear, the more lighter and brighter and happier you will feel.
Absolutely. I was listening to you, and my next question was actually, what can you suggest to people during lockdown or COVID-19 that they could actually use as an understanding? I mean, you mentioned papaya, and you mentioned the clove water. What else do you think? I mean, could you add a couple more? Because that was my next question. You nicely went into that. Do you have any other, like, and we're talking about the energy diet now, about the mindset as well, and the emotions. How can they add, because I understand your book is when is your book coming out, by the way? Emotional Mastery. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. Very soon, very soon. Within, this year only, it's coming out.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, I'll be glad to shoot out an email or tell everyone to look it up. Now, when it comes to COVID-19 and the lockdown and on all this epidemic that's been happening, people. I just read in the U.S. that the divorce rate has actually doubled, if not quadrupled. Suicide as well has been on the rise, unfortunately. What do you tell to people? I mean, I read this nice quote this morning. A friend of mine, her name is also Hanan. She said that if you're going, we'd rather hear about your book or your values or you speaking than to hear about your death. So that was very interesting how that was put. Yeah, we tend to want to hear about the success and people getting over tragedy rather than surrendering to it. So how do people, could they shift their mindset during their time from not only, eating right and keeping their energy high and their emotional under control, but what about their mindset and overall mental health?
We are indeed, each one of us are going through something at this point of time. If you are a business person and your business is in hold, you are going through something. I mean, if you lost a job, you are going through something. If you have a job but you are worried, if you're going to get laid off, you're going through something. If you're in a relationship and there is tension because of the situations around, you are going through something. And let's say, if everything is okay in your life, you're financially stable, your family is with you, but this entire world, not just one community or one city or one country, but 7 billion population together are vibrating in a frequency of fear and anxiety and panic that has nothing got to do with you, but still you are going through something. So yeah. That is why I say that in this high stress situation that now we are into, follow the 3F theory, that I'm asking all my clients to. The first F is a fear. It is okay to feel the fear, but it is not okay to feed the fear. Fear is a natural emotion. We are human. If we are not feeling fearful at times in this situation, then we are not human, because as a human, security and certainty is one of our basic needs. Right now, if I'm not feeling secure that the ceiling is going to fall on my head, I won't be able to sit here peacefully and talk to you. So everybody wants to feel that security and certainty about the future. That way they feel in control of their life. But at the same time, do not feed the fear, because there is a lot of news that is going on around you. Make sure that you are validating the credibility of news, because the current media business, as I said, media business, it is not just about information. So acknowledge the fear and then move on to the next step. The next step of the second F is a focus. We have heard about this. Where your focus goes, your energy flows.
Yes.
A lot of things in our life is not dependent on the situation that we are in, but rather dependent on the decisions that we make. And what is that one biggest force in your life that can change your life altogether? That biggest gift, let's say the universe or God, the creator, whatever you call it, has given you, that biggest, the highest power that you have within you that can change your life in an instant. It's your power of choice. Where do you choose to put your focus on? Because your choice, your power of choice will give you, one, where do you put your focus on? Second, what meaning are you giving to your focus? And third, what action are you going to take? So put your focus on gratitude, the simple things in life, to say thank you. This is the perfect time to create a new habit. Create the new habit of saying thank you. Because tell you one thing, Dr. Hanan, gratitude and fear cannot coexist in the same place at the same time. You either have to be on this side or you have to be on that side. Two together, gratitude and fear, will not stay under the same roof. So if you are feeling fearful, which means you are not counting the things that you have in your life at the moment, even if it is very simple and very small, like having a freshly brewed cup of coffee in the morning, or having your child, smile at you, how precious that is. Or, even helping somebody who is, who doesn't have as much of resources that you have, how fulfilling that can be. So create the new habit at this time. And the third thing that I will say at this time, after fear and focus, is faith. Now, human beings are very resilient species. We can adapt to anything. We have gone through the 2008 financial crash. We have gone through the 9/11 attack. We have gone through the Gulf War. We have witnessed and experienced pandemics before in previous generations as well. But no matter what we have gone through, we have that capacity, God-given capacity to bounce back. And faith is a deeper knowing that, no matter what life throws at you, you can handle it and you will handle it. And faith is not something that you need to learn. It comes for free. Since you were born, you have that. You just need to pay your attention to it. Like if you look at it, I mean, you drive, right, Dr. Hanan?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, if we look at the statistics, every year 1.35 million people die on road accidents, which means like around 3,500 people every day is dying out in the road in car accidents, okay? But still, we do not wait for all the signals to turn green before we take our car out of the garage, right? This is called faith.
Yeah.
exercise your faith, and
Right.
take care of your emotions. You know, it is okay to, you know, take your time out, you know, for your own self. You have responsibilities, you have, you know, your duties and obligations, but take time yourself to nurture yourself, nourish yourself, because love yourself, then only you can live better.
Absolutely. I love them, and all three apps are free. There's a fourth.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's just
Yeah, great.
exactly. I mean, you don't have to go out, leave out your house, and you'll be able to use them and be fine. I can't believe that we went through 45 minutes
Oh,
of
wow.
speaking, and it's absolutely an honor and a pleasure speaking to you. And I usually wrap up with a quote from my book, Second Chances, that I want you to give me a last word on. And one of the quotes that I think would fit nicely here is the definition of insanity. I love this definition by Einstein, which is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So your last word on that quote from my book.
I would say this is something, you know, actually it goes out to a lot of people out there who might be feeling down at the moment. And because I'm getting an overwhelming amount of calls, you know, number of calls since all this started in the last 1 month. Where people are actually talking to me, discussing with me that I have to kill myself so my insurance goes to my family because I cannot pay the vendors. Business have shut down. And I want to say it, keeping your quote in mind that, you know, when you hit rock bottom, the only way is
Is
going up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. May I always add on to that, when you fall, make sure you fall on your back so you could see where you're going to go next. Thank you so much, Dr. Nirvana. It was a pleasure
Thank
and
you
an
so
honor.
much for having me in this show.
And connecting with you was an absolute pleasure. And I hope that people have taken a lot of proper good takeaways and information to help during this unfortunate epidemic. Thank you, Dr. Nirvana, and I'll see
Thank
you
you.
soon. Take care. Bye-bye.